On this episode of ReLiterated, we're still on hiatus, but going back through some of our favorite moments of Season 1. From glory holes to beating up 5-year-olds, from Scat Battle of the Bands to getting Harold started on a rant. Here are some of the highlights of the show so far as we gear up for Season 2. It's Season 1's greatest hits on ReLiterated, the podcast your mother always warned you about. Mr. Arable, he was not killing the runt to make food. He was killing them because it was going to be too much of a hassle to raise this thing into food.
Right.
Oh yeah, I guess that's more of a theme later on.
Like he doesn't have a chance in life, so we're just going to put him out of his misery now so I don't have to deal with it.
So are we essentially saying that in this setting for a rural, probably conservative person, a late term, actually post-birth abortion was being allowed?
A post... He was about to do a post-birth abortion. Now there's a thread we can follow for.
Yeah, let's go down that rabbit hole.
It is realistic. They are young girls, and there's going to be relationships with boys in their lives. I mean, they're not going to be completely separate from the existence of men or their romantic desires as well. But I do appreciate how well like the characters are treated, and they're not just constantly drooling over boys.
Right.
They're young girls, but they're not like Barbie girly girls.
Right.
Oh, I was gonna say it. Technically, only one of them's like really into boys. So, and that's Marianne. She's the one that's obsessed with Cam Geary. So
this is true.
I think at some point all of them do, but Anne Martin is lesbian, and or a lesbian. I don't know how to talk about LGBT people.
We are ignorant.
we are dumb and children.
Here's what we like to do. We like to dive into subjects we shouldn't dive into. And then try our best to dig our way out of them in the most innocent light that we can.
Yes, we are very honest about our shortcomings, though,
yes.
And we will recognize where we come up short. But we do want you, the listeners, to know that it's coming from a place of good faith. I hope it comes across as such.
As do I.
because he is part of the Iroquois, which was actually the name that was given to them by the English.
By
the French. I've read that it was by the English.
Iroquois.
Well, so. Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't know why I read French. I read that the English one was a French word. Yeah, it's a French word. So I was like, because I read it, I was like, I thought the French gave them that name.
I mean, it does look like a French word, and I'm sure like the English would have pronounced it Iroquois. Actually, in the Wikipedia entry, it's pronounced either way, Iroquois or Iroquois. But the name for the tribe or the group of tribes that they had for themselves, Josh, I know you've been wanting to say this.
Yes, because I found out how to pronounce it. Haudenosaunee.
Nope. Close.
Nope. But... Close. Yep. See, I knew I was going to fuck it up because I did it so many times before so that I'd have it perfectly, and then I mess it up because I'm bad at pronunciations.
Isn't it the...
I'm looking at it right now. Haudenosaunee.
Haudenosaunee. Acetylsalicylic acid.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that one.
Haudenosaunee.
But that is the proper name. That is what the descendants of the tribe prefer to be called now. Not Iroquois, and definitely not Indian, like it says over and over in the book.
Right.
To the point where it made me uncomfortable.
Right? As if that was their preferred term. This is coming from a British woman in the, writing it in the late 1970s to be published in 1980.
I was going to bring up the fact that in the 80s, like in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, that term was being taken back by them. They were trying to take that as their term. If you go to Alcatraz, it says Indians welcome. That is what is painted on the wall because they took over Alcatraz Island for several years as a form of protest.
So a group of Native Americans tried to reappropriate the term
correct.
Indian
yeah,
for themselves?
Okay. So I believe at that time that it was an okay term. But since then, because it's been many years, obviously, it is no longer okay to say that word. Right. For that group of people.
Which I'm totally fine with because there is a country named India and people who are from there are Indians.
Correct.
And this is how the term for Native Americans came about because the English thought that they had discovered India.
Right, yeah, because they...
Yeah,
or discovered a route to India.
Yeah, I thought it was the Spanish.
It was Columbus was the Spanish, but there were multiple explorers that.
Columbus, I believe, was Italian who sailed for Spain.
Yeah, under the Spanish flag.
No one wants Columbus, okay? Nobody wants to.
Right, I don't think he was the first to land in North America, though.
No, Amerigo Vespucci was.
Amerigo Vespucci. I don't know.
Yeah, because Columbus just landed on islands, basically, in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's how it originated in calling them the East Indies.
See, this is what you get when you come to ReLiterated. You get a haphazard history lesson of shit that you should look up yourself because we definitely don't know what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, we're just talking out our asses with what various history we learned from various places.
Our vague recollection of what we learned about history.
And what I've learned on TikTok videos and other podcasts that I learned history from.
Right. But I mean, it's pretty common knowledge that they're called Indians because they
thought they were in India.
Thought they were landing in India.
Yeah, but it was not India. It was the North American continent is where they landed. Somewhere upon it, whether that be south, north, or center.
Even though you're the main character, we're not going to tell you about yourself.
Nope. You got to figure it out. Well, and I mean, it kind of does play into, as this goes on, her having to figure out herself in order to accomplish. Yes. I mean, there is something important about, someone could tell you who you are. And I think that a lot of people fall into that. People go to psychics, people follow astrology, all these things that are going to tell you who you are. But are you those things, or do you try to fit into that box because you believe those things are true? So if they want Meg to discover herself in order to win at the end of the day, then it's important that they don't put her in a box by telling her who she is.
That's very profound.
Very true. Ah, very nice. Very profound.
Fucking right,
I like
it was.
That.
God damn.
Ooh, that was some insightful shit. You gotta cut that out. It's too smart.
Too smart for these people.
Let's edit out. We're too immature for literary scholars. We gotta cut that out. Sound a bit too much like one of them literary scholars.
Just cut it out and put out a sound of farting over top of it.
Yep.
I mean, we'll leave it in, but we'll drown it out with farts. Right. How's that?
So Charlotte, she getting the different words. So she knows salutations, but some of the words that Templeton brings back, I thought were quite great. And where is it? Crunchy. Yeah. I feel that pre-shrunk should have been used.
Pre-shrunk. Because he's a runt.
Because he was a runt, exactly. So he was pre-shrunk. I thought that would have been perfect. And nowadays, juicy would be a good term.
Yeah.
Juicy pig.
They put it on it. They give him some just give him some sweatpants and put it on his ass. Juicy.
Yeah, that's one juicy pig.
Isn't that how that works?
I mean, that would make me want to eat them, but...
No, you put on those pink sweatpants that say juicy on the ass. Give them some awesome
juicy ham
sunglasses.
Yeah, you put some pink sweatpants on that say juicy on the back of a pig. I'm fucking that pig.
Who do you think you are now? The Prime Minister of the UK or something?
Right? Oh man, yeah.
Now, did he really have to take the egg sack back to the farm for those spiders to survive? Probably
It wasn't
not.
for them to survive.
It wasn't for them to survive.
Yeah.
It was for him to have friends, or for him to, I don't know, maybe return the favor and take care of her children when she never
He may have been
asked
thinking
him
about
to.
taking care of the children. I think that instead of some pig, she should have written selfish pig.
There you go. Juicy, selfish.
Juicy selfish pig.
Edible, succulent,
Crunchy.
Yeah.
fall off the bone
Crunchy.
barbecue pork. Crunchy. Now that I'd like to see on the ass of a sweatpants.
Yeah. Ooh.
Crunchy.
Crunchy.
Hey, merch.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we'll make some
that'll be our
merch with
merch.
crunchy on the
Yeah.
ass.
ReLiterated
We'll put crunchy
merch.
on ass
Here we
and
go. We're already
There
an
you go.
award-winning podcast. Let's have some merch.
This is true. Gotta get the merch.
Leave it in the comments. Do you want crunchy sweatpants?
Now, we may not have a lot of merch available after only one season, but what we lack in marketable wares, we make up for in epic rants on various subjects. Here's a collection of our favorite times that we got Harold started. Don't get Harold started. Once you start him up, he never stops. Yeah, start him up. Once you start him up, he'll never stop.
It very much reminded me of reading Tolkien. And
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people go on and say they like Tolkien. I don't believe any of them. I think they just say it because they think it makes them cool. But Tolkien is the worst kind of writing, as with this, in the fact that it is not engaging. It is too descriptive, and it argues over and over about things that are established. Already, you established them easily and succinctly 3 pages ago, yet I'm still reading about this fucking leaf pendant that helps you stay invisible in the woods. Okay, I can see where the stories might be good, and I like that kind of fantasy. Tolkien or this type of fantasy, space fantasy, old school fantasy, I like that stuff. But it's like they know that so much of that kind of fantasy has been written that they're trying to do something different. And what they don't realize while they're doing something different, I say with my quote fingers, is that they're just adding unnecessary lengths of words to what they're saying. He supported a marriage ban in North Carolina. He says that marriage equality is not about marriage, but rather about giving the left the power to force anti-religious values on our children, and added, once they legalize gay marriage, it will be the bludgeon they use to make sure that it becomes illegal to teach traditional values in schools. You know, let me tell you something. I'm gonna come right out and say this.
Go for it.
37 years I've been alive. I am so sick and fucking tired of religious people shoving their religion down my throat and then turning around and saying, "Don't shove your non-religiousness down my throat," when I didn't even start the fucking conversation. You know, I mean,
Preach.
shut the fuck up. Really. Yeah. I have never been religious. Not a single point in my life, right? And constantly, I've had people tell me that, you might be a good person, but if you don't believe what I believe, you're going to spend eternity in hell. I'm scared of it. I don't believe in what you believe. I don't believe in hell. Okay. So but they're constantly saying stuff like that, right? I have never, I started at some point in my life, but I had never up into a certain point in my life, gone at somebody and been like, "Oh, well, I can't believe you believe that." And then I ended up being that way. Josh could tell you there was a time I was militant about it almost, because it was just
quite.
It was annoying. Yeah. Some person said they needed help one time and handed me a card that wanted me to go to Jesus, and I threw it right back at him. My point is this. No one that doesn't believe in your thing wants to hear you fucking preach to them about it. It's annoying. This literally says that once they legalize gay marriages, it will be the bludgeon they use to make sure that it becomes illegal to teach traditional values in schools. Whose values? Your values? Do those values have to be that they also carry a cross around and believe in it? Shut up. Like, it's annoying. It's so annoying. I am tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I don't care if someone's religious. If you're religious, you want to believe in that, that's fine. You wholeheartedly believe in it. That's great. But don't suggest that there's something wrong with someone who doesn't believe what you believe. Because trust me, I think there's something wrong with someone who believes in a magic fairy that controls everything but doesn't control everything, but has a plan but doesn't know that the plan's going to go that way because come on. You know, I had a lady come into the store one time and she had her baby and I was like, oh, she's so cute. I'm like, what's her name? And she goes, Alaska. And I'm like, why though? But why? So, I mean, it is what it is. That kid's got to deal with that, though, when they get older.
Exactly.
That's the thing. That kid's got to deal with that someday. It seems cute now, but man. And I'm not shitting on people for naming their kids funny names. It's just that there is something to a name. I mean, even like with me, my name is Harold. I can tell you right now that I am about positive that when someone hears Harold, they think that I'm going to be like some 60 or 70-year-old man when they meet me. In fact, one of the jokes I tell people to remember my name is they'll say Harold, and they'll, I haven't heard that name in a long time. And I go, yeah, I'm the last 30-year-old Harold you'll ever meet. You know, I mean, it's...
Well, there's literally a meme named after you.
Yeah, let me tell you, my whole life I've had to deal with, before anybody gets all upset because I'm talking about people's names and, you know, we get all in the weeds about like, oh, don't tease people because of their names, blah, blah, blah. My whole life, every time there's an idiot, every time there's a buffoon, every time there is a super nerd or anything like that, it's Harold every time. Commercials, movies, TV shows, every fucking time. I have never seen a cool or able to do anything Harold. And what makes me laugh about that is that my dad, my grandpa, and I are probably three of the most capable people that exist. We can literally pick up things and begin learning how to do them immediately every fucking time. I mean, you've met my dad.
Oh,
you didn't meet my grandpa. You didn't meet my grandpa, but he's the one who taught us all that. And I mean, I watched Forged in Fire, liked it, built a forge, and started making knives. I'm a capable person. So whenever I see those commercials or TV shows and they're all like, Harold, oh, Harold, here comes Harold. I'm like, ah. So I've been putting up with it my whole life. You just get thick skin and you go ahead and deal with it and move on. So they sit down at the slumber party and they're trying to decide which movies to watch. So Christy says Ghostbusters, my vote too. Claudia says Star Wars, close second. Mm-hmm. Stacy says Mary Poppins. Marianne says 16 Candles. Okay. And then Dawn wants to watch The Parent Trap. It's all right. But they're all like looking at the VCR. Obviously, Parent Trap is way off the list because she looked woefully at the VCR. So it's Saturday night. They're going to get to stay up and everything. They end up doing a vote on it, and they end up with Ghostbusters and 16 Candles is what they're going to watch, okay? But they start with Ghostbusters. So they're watching Ghostbusters. And as they're watching it, they get to the point where the marshmallow guy bursts. And she says, I think it's Christy's favorite part too. As soon as he exploded, she said, I'm starving. Let's toast marshmallows, Dawn, or make s'mores. So they pause the movie at the part where the marshmallow man burst to make s'mores so they can eat them while they're finishing the rest of the movie. I've seen Ghostbusters 787 times, okay? At the point where the marshmallow man explodes, there are literally 3.5 minutes left in that movie. They go, oh, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, let's break her out of the dog. And then they're like, I love this town. And then it goes to the next scene where it's just the credits start rolling and they're walking out with marshmallow on them. Why did they pause the fucking movie to make s'mores to watch that? Just finish the movie. Get your s'mores made and watch your next movie.
Well, I mean, that last 3.5 minutes is about as much time as it takes to eat a s'more. So.
Not if you're doing it right, man. You should have 6 or 7 fucking s'mores. What are you doing? How many s'mores do you eat?
I don't know, 1 at a time.
No. You got to sandwich 2 s'mores together and eat 3 of those.
That's why I don't call them s'mores. I call them Z'nuff.
Z'nuff.
One's enough.
Yeah, I'll do 1, but that's about it. I don't do more than 1 usually.
Well, I am the chocolatiest chocolate milk friend, so
yeah.
Candy
yes,
is pretty much
true.
what I eat. So Meg tries to tackle Charles Wallace again. Well, not Charles Wallace again. And before she can get to him, he punches her in the stomach. Which, I mean, I don't understand this, because if a little 5-year-old punched me in the stomach, it ain't gonna do shit. Like, I'm tackling that 5-year-old, whether it tries to punch me or not. I'm not saying you should tackle a 5-year-old. I'm just saying that a 5-year-old couldn't stop me, even at like 12 or 13,
These kids are like stupid smart, man.
Hey, not just stupid smart, but physically able as well I mean, I don't know what's going on in this future. They must be forced to eat Wheaties or something, because they're extremely intelligent, and they seem to be extremely physically able as well, beyond anything, I mean,
they're essentially adults.
Right.
Like fully developed mental capacity.
I mean, I can tell you right now that if Ender was coming at me, I could definitely knock him out, because he's only 6.
You have mentioned several times how you'd be able to beat up a child.
You could only do it once. After that, he will know all your moves.
Oh, he would. You're right.
He's basically Taskmaster meets Charles Wallace.
I gotta say, as we're mentioning this right now, I took Bruce and Clark to the park today, and we had to take a bunch of lightsabers with us, and we were gonna fight. And Bruce he was out in the backyard, and I noticed him swinging, and I didn't realize he was practicing a move with 2 lightsabers to try and trick me to get me, okay? I know this now because he used the move on me at Carroll Park, and I was standing too close to a tree and didn't realize it was there. And when I jumped back to fucking get out of the way of his lightsaber, I smucked into the tree and fell on the ground. With all these people watching, I'm holding the lightsaber in my hand, laying on the ground.
You got taken down.
It's fantastic. Oh, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him.
After all this shit you've been talking about 5-year-olds.
Yeah, dude, I got my ass kicked by a 5-year-old with a lightsaber.
One of them took you out.
Right down on the ground, dude.
Oh, shit. Hey. It's me, Andy, popping in again to remind you that you can get in contact with us by emailing ReLiterated@gmail.com, or find us on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, and now even on TikTok. Some of us even remember to update our socials from time to time. Gosh. Ask us anything, respond to some of our wilder claims, offer sponsorship deals, whatever. Or, if you're tough enough, and I'm talking directly to fellow podcasters and friends of the show, Matty Ice and Marky Mark, respond to our Battle of the Bands challenge, you cowards. Need a refresher on how that was issued? Here it is. And we're still waiting, by the way. One person's a perfectionist, wants to keep trying over and over and over again until they get it right.
Right.
Which is the key to getting it right, but still.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, you got to just keep playing through. I mean, that's probably one of the things that I realized when I started messing with the guitar, and I would like to pick it back up again and play around with it. Not for any particular reason. I'm not trying to go do a Battle of the Bands or anything, but it is fun. It is fun to play with.
No, let's sign up. That'll motivate us to get good.
Yes, that will
30
work.
days.
We got 3 days. We need to sit around. We need a montage.
Marky Mark and Matty Ice, we challenge you to a Battle of the Bands.
Ooh.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
Learn
we should do that.
Down, 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 down.
All right, guys, 5 more minutes of this. All right,
we need to practice. We gotta get the practice. We got that Battle of the Bands with Matty Ice and Marky Mark coming up.
Yeah, right. It'll be all mouth music. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, all mouth music.
We'll have a scat battle.
Yeah. Skip it.
They have no chance.
Nope, we got him.
You and me, scat battle and steel cage, brother. And now we'll round out this episode with some more of our favorite moments from the award-winning podcast that's Too Relit to Quit. Don't believe me? Just Bing it. After he tries to bean Maniac and fails, he tells the other kids that he's got to go take a leak. And he's gone for a while, and they figured that, well, he's a big kid, so his whiz would probably last longer than a regular kid's, might even make the creek rise. This imagery of peeing so much that it makes the creek rise, it got me in trouble when we read this in 4th grade, because our class was supposed to draw a scene from the book that we had read so far. And I chose to draw John McNabb peeing into the creek and making the water level rise. And I don't remember if my parents got called in or not, but I certainly got a talking to from Mrs. Post because I also drew the penis.
Oh my!
With the pee coming out of it, just a little little U shape from him, but distinctly a penis. Just a crude drawing of this John McNabb kid peeing into the river.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
But here's the thing, though. I'm not saying that you should have. I don't know that you should get in too much trouble for that either, though, because, you're in 4th grade. Do you think you drew the penis with malice? Or do you think you drew the penis?
That's what penises are for.
Yeah.
Penises are for peeing.
I feel like as a kid, you're not, as a little kid like that, 3rd grade, 4th grade, you're still pretty young. I feel like you're not necessarily if you draw a dick, it's not like when you're in high school and you're scratching a dick into a desk or something to get the rise out of people.
Right.
I feel like you drew the penis because you're 4th grade and you're like, I pee out of my penis. And obviously, so does this guy, assumably.
For whatever reason, the imagery of making the creek rise by peeing into it struck some kind of chord with me enough that I drew that. Weird that I drew something that John McNabb did as opposed to anything that Maniac did. But,
right.
There you go.
Wait, you say? Something's on the shore. Globs of lava rise out of the molten rock, seeming to stand up to greet you. They don't appear to have mouths, but you hear a deep, raspy voice say, "We are the gods of the forge and the sword making. You have a sword that is causing disruption in our world. You must give it to us." Not as defiant. Never! If you don't want to give it to them either, turn to page 106. If you think you should throw the sword to the lava creatures, turn to page 63.
Wow. I was expecting more ninjas.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more ninjas. So far, we've gone on a plane trip, a boat trip, a survivor trip, and now we're looking at lava monsters.
You're the guys that didn't want to go back in time. We probably would have met ninjas by now. But
we probably would have back in time.
I don't know.
I did want to bring up one point in the book that we kind of skipped over. In the early stages of the book, he's like, well, if you just watch what the animals eat, then you'll know what's good and what you can eat. That is not true. There are a lot of things that animals can eat that will kill you. Straight up kill you. Like mushrooms, especially. If you don't know your mushrooms, there's a good chance you're going to die.
Right. And here's the thing. You might not realize as you're watching an animal, you might think you know which animal is which, but what if an animal eats something, crawls off in its hole and dies, and the next day you see another animal that looks very similar to it? I saw 2 groundhogs standing on the side of the road today, and I couldn't have told you the difference between the 2 of them. They were both exactly the same. Imagine if one of those died, but I saw one not knowing there were 2, and I'm like, oh, well, I can totally eat that because he ate it. No. Not the best.
Dogs eat their own shit.
Right.
I don't want to eat my own shit just because a dog eats its own shit.
Right. Well, you'd probably also die if you ate your own shit. And not all dogs eat their own shit. And a lot of times there's a deficiency going on for the dog if they're eating their own shit, by the way.
And I eat chocolate. Dog eats chocolate. That's no bueno.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, there was a severe lack of diarrhea in my side of the mountain.
In my side of the mountain, there should have been a lot more diarrhea. There should have been a lot more like the jungle saying no. The jungle says no. Like he had it way too easy. I mean, there were points in the book where I was reading it and I actually fell asleep because it was basically just like reading someone tell me this long story about how they did everything perfect. And I'm like, no, bro, you didn't. Well, then again, though, if you're writing a journal about when you were surviving out in the woods, are you going to write about that time that you got a raw ass from all the pooping because you weren't ready for the water?
It's quite possible that Sam left that out of his birch bark diary.
Yeah. Well, because he was using birch bark toilet paper and he
used that page for something else.
Yeah.
Should have found some velvet leaf. Now that's the trick right there.
Probably grabbed out of some poison ivy. Oh no. They passed some eatable marshmallow pillows, lickable wallpaper.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
We get the classic snozberries, and it's actually Mike TV who says something about snozberries. But I think it was better said by Veruca Salt in the movie when she's like, snozberries? There's no such thing as snozberries.
I think it was said the best by that high guy in the Super Troopers. When he's licking the window of the cop car, he's like, the snozberries taste like snozberries.
So the word snozberry actually came up in another Roald Dahl book, and it was actually an adult book that he wrote, and it was used as a euphemism for a man's penis, where someone grabbed a dude by the snozberry.
Oh, nice. Okay. So the dicks taste like dicks.
Which is an interesting bit of trivia.
Yeah.
But it is a fictional fruit / flavor, whatever, that was later used as a euphemism for a dick. So there you go.
Good to know.
I'm wondering how being the last child to, how do I put this? The last child to resist causing an industrial accident being the qualification of owning a giant factory and setting the rules of a contest that systematically eliminate children using industrial accidents until we wind up with a winner. That is insane.
People on meth don't make sound decisions, Andy.
People on meth do not make sound decisions.
Have you not ever watched Breaking Bad? There's a scene where he starts digging a hole because he knows the meth guy will start going at it just to distract him.
Well, I think that it wasn't about, whether or not these kids involve themselves in some kind of industrial accident. I think it was more like, which one of these kids is responsible enough and clear enough of mind to not be selfish, not be rude, do as they're asked, like don't touch something, don't touch that gum, don't take that. And not just act on impulse. Again, like you're saying, kids acting like kids are punished in this book. You said this earlier, but at the same time, a kid that acts like an adult is all good, and Charlie does act adult. He wants to share his chocolate earlier in the book. He won't take the extra food that his parents are offering him because he wants the rest of his family to eat. He's not thinking selfishly.
Yeah. And I think Willy Wonka is exceptionally lucky that Charlie found that ticket. Probably more lucky than Charlie was to find the ticket.
Or magic. Damn it. Magic.
Or he's magic. Alien magic caused Charlie to find the ticket the very day before they were to convene on here. If Charlie hadn't found that ticket, it would have either gone unsold or another rotten child would have it. And then it's anybody's guess who would the last kid standing would have been and been the de facto owner of Willy Wonka's factory, or he could just scrap the whole thing and do another contest.
I think he would have scrapped the whole thing. They would have got their free candy for the rest of their lives, their free diabetes, and he would have just had to have another contest. Or he would have been smart and, found someone good to take over the factory, or, leave it to the people that he enslaved. Yeah, one of those options.
Or he could have bought ZipRecruiter. With ZipRecruiter, you could...
Soon. Oh, soon.
Soon.
They can't find the key. And Omri's sure that his brothers have taken it. And they're like, no, we didn't take it, And what it turns out is his rat, one of his brother's pet rat, got loose in the house and is crawling around in the floorboards. And their dad had all his floorboards up that day trying to catch the rat. And at some point, the key must have fallen in there because they looked everywhere. This is where they went up in the attic to the glory hole. Patrick and Omri visited a glory hole.
So, yeah. I did not know that glory hole had a non-sexual connotation, but they call the attic just a sort of glory hole where they could play and leave a total mess. So now I kind of want to,
visit a glory hole?
Not visit a glory hole, but I was
leave a total
going to
mess?
say, like, do a search for glory holes, but that could be super dangerous. To do a search for glory hole, to look for the innocent definition. Glory door. Door.
I'm gonna put glory hole into Bing here and check it out. Glory hole porn videos, glory hole videos, glory hole porn videos, glory hole porn videos, glory hole, Urban Dictionary. A glory hole is a hole made in a thin wall or other type of partition where a man can insert their penis for sexual stimulation by an anonymous person on the other side.
Where are glory holes in the United States?
Yeah.
All right. How might we do a search for the archaic term?
Glory hole.
Glory hole, archaic term.
No, okay.
Okay.
So I put in innocent glory hole.
Innocent glory hole.
Innocent glory hole porn videos. Innocent glory hole. I need to get rid of that.
Okay. All right. So I found on dictionary.com, where does glory hole come from? In the 1820s, glory hole was a slang term for a junk drawer. No, not that kind of junk. Other 19th century uses include small compartments on ships and other small rooms, along with some still current specialized uses in glassblowing, engineering, and mining. The glory here apparently goes back to a Scots word meaning muddy, but that's probably not why you're here, it says. So it's kind of a slang term for a junk drawer, or like just a catch-all place where like your sundries can be held.
Not according to my search. I should have used incognito on Google, but Bing doesn't have that.
Now, we're not here to talk about Bing's shortcomings.
I love Bing otherwise.
Not if we're angling for a sponsorship.
Maybe it's something they should look into.
Yes, constructive criticism.
It's a constructive criticism, that's all.
That's going to do it for our look back at some of the best of Season 1. Season 2 of ReLiterated will be starting in just 2 weeks with our first entry into our Spooky Month chapter for the month of October, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz, and that'll be out October 5th. So, thanks for listening and subscribing and reviewing us, and until we meet again in October, from the Chocolate Milk Friends, give a shit, read some lit, have a good whatever time of the day it is for you, and thanks!